What's up guys, Untitled Studios here, and we have another living room vacuuming video with the Eureka TheBoss Power Plus. Now this is a bit of an interesting machine because this is essentially, in case you can't tell by the color scheme, which you might not if you're not familiar with these machines, this is a custom machine. I actually took the motor and, motor housing as well as the handle assembly, since it was all the same color, with the cord and all that. And I basically built it onto a machine, or I guess the other way around. I took the white and green machine and built some of those parts onto the black and blue machine. So now the machine is black, white, and green because the white and green machine had no cord on it, and based on the condition of the motor, it looked like the motor was not functional. In fact, I do remember now I tried it and the motor did not work. So it needed a new motor and a new cord. And so I basically had the black and blue one, which the black and blue one worked fine. But the issue with it is that it sat outside for a while. It was very dirty. After a lot of cleaning, I could not clean up the base assembly. And so I just could not get the base assembly clean. And the base assembly also had a lot of rust on it, like too much for me to really be able to remove, at least with my very rudimentary levels of rust removal skills, which is borderline non-existent. I'm not very good at figuring out how to remove rust off of vacuums. That's something I still need to figure out. So I took the base from the white and green Eureka TheBoss Power Plus and put it on this machine. And I originally had the brush roll from that one in, but even though this brush roll looks a lot worse, it actually spins a lot better, and it's actually in much better condition. The bristles are in better condition, the bearings are perfect. So while a lot of the kind of black coloring is unfortunately worn off this brush roll, so even though this does look worse than the brush roll that was previously in it, it works a lot better. And obviously functionality is a bit more important than looks when it comes to a vacuum cleaner. So you can see all that is fine. There is kind of some... This did sit outside for a while, admittedly, and was in quite a few rainstorms as well, so it'll be interesting to see how well this thing runs. It's entirely possible that the motor is shot now. I would not be surprised, but I don't believe it is. I believe I did run it, and it ran okay. So it works now. Obviously, the white and green one, it had a spot where a headlight would go, but it had a blank over it, so it wasn't an actual headlight. So this is a bit smoother, and it has a little stair carrying handle down here. One thing that I might try to do with this machine, if I decide to keep it, because I'm debating on keeping this or selling it. The only reason I even rebuilt this is because I had a yellow one as a kid. And, I figured, hey, might as well rebuild this. But, so it took me a while to do it because I had both these machines for about a year and change and finally built something out of it. So that is an old filter. I do need to replace that filter. But I will say, from the brief time I used it, it seems to do a pretty decent job at cleaning. Obviously the filtration is non-existent because this is the only filter in the entire machine. There is no exhaust filter. So I would not use this as a daily because you can literally see the motor in there, which not only means that there's no post filtration, so all that carbon dust is getting spewed out. It also means that there's no sound dampening. So this machine is very loud. And that is something I'll mention when I do a full review on this at some point. Although since this hasn't been on the market for about a decade, I'm not really in a hurry to do a review on this, but I will at some point. Unfortunately, from it sitting outside, it appears that these top screws have actually rusted pretty badly. So hopefully those still drive in and out, no problem. I might see if I can go about replacing these. All the other screws, I believe, are okay, though, for the most part. No attachments. I guess there is this that I pulled off my Excalibur. I just kind of stuck that there. That's not very useful, though. I know this takes the same attachments as most of the other, like, semi-modern Eureka, so it has the skinny dusting brush, the extension wand, the crevice tool. If I really wanted to, I could steal the attachments off my Whirlwind Lightspeed. But, again, I'm not using this as a daily, so there's no reason to do that. So, looking at the partially out-of-date sticker. It's a Eureka, Charlotte, North Carolina. 28262, made in China, type F-1, model 4703. So, technically, this is the black housing, and the motor that's in this is the original one that came in this housing, so I would say that that's accurate, because these are just external parts. This is like the actual vacuum. So I would say that this is the 4703 model. And then there wasn't really much wrong with the bin, although I believe like the spring in here seemed like it was about to go. And since I figured, you know, the base was going to be this color, I might as well put the bin from this one on it anyway, so it at least has some sort of color coordination. But yeah, other than that, it does work. And it is kind of nice to have one of these again, but at the same time, again, it's so loud and the filtration is so poor. The Whirlwind Lightspeed is just so much better machine if I was to use a bagless Eureka, given that's an actual sealed system and it's a lot quieter, more versatile, better in every way. But you know, this was obviously Eureka's answer to like the Dirt Double Breeze and the Bissell Power Force bagless and all that. So, you know, it's interesting to see it up and running, since I don't think too many people have these anymore. They're definitely not as common as the Bissell and the Dirt Double counterparts, from what I can see at least. So, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and run this and clean the living room. Now, I did vacuum with the Shark Apex, and there is some of those little scent beads that my fiance put down whenever he was cleaning the living room earlier today, so we'll see if this actually gets up a bunch of those beads that the Shark might have left behind the Apex. So, we'll see. Again, headphone warning, this machine is pretty loud. So, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so very loud, not very pleasant to use. Because I'll be honest, if I'm going to use a machine that loud in order to get performance like this and filtration like this, I'd rather use an Elite. Because with an Elite, I'd have tools about just as easy to use depending on which Elite. And, you know, I could put HEPA bags in it. But, admittedly, as far as the actual results, I mean, do I have a lot to complain about? And the answer is no. Because you can see, actually you might not be able to see, there's a lot of fine dust. You can see a lot of those beads in there that the shark left behind. There's a good amount of stuff in there. And hardly any of it actually clung to the filter. Most of it dropped into the bottom where it's supposed to go. Now, admittedly, the thing doesn't have a ton of suction, and that's probably the fault of this filter. I'm trying to think if I think I might have one of these filters somewhere, and if not, I know they're easy to find. Looks to me like the spring's about to fail on this one too. Or, I don't know if that's just warped. But yeah. Oh, the filter is washable. Yeah, that's probably not, actually. These pleated filters never wash out right. If you can't vacuum them off, you pretty much just have to replace them. You can always try to wash them, but don't wash them unless you have a spare ready to go in case the washing goes haywire. You know, whether that spare is a spare filter or a spare vacuum. So, I can tell that I can feel a difference in the air. It does not feel great. So, filtration on this, not at all something to be proud about. But the performance, you know, I do need to clean this. Obviously, it's a bit dusty from sitting outside. You can tell those little spiderweb bits that were in there got sucked up. Part of the reason why I didn't bother to clean those off, because I knew they were just going to get pulled into the brush anyways. Minimal hair tangles, although admittedly I did already vacuum with the 0M Shark, so it got most of that up anyways. Because the Shark does good with getting hair. It does fine with picking up pet hair. It does fine with picking up debris off the surface, and especially picking up debris off the floor. But as far as on deep cleaning carpets, that apex leaves a lot to be desired, which is kind of surprising given the fact that the NV352, the standard purple Shark, does surprisingly well at deep cleaning, given the fact there's no manual height adjustment. But with this thing, I don't know why I have to set this to low carpet. I don't know if like the adjustment wheels aren't proper, because for most vacuums this is a medium pile carpet, and sometimes in the case of like the Phantom and the Clear Track, it's a high pile carpet. There's a low pile carpet on this thing. But that does mean that it did work very well on this sort of deep pile carpet that was at my old house. So it did pretty good on that, as a result of the height adjustment being more. But that also means that if you have actual low pile carpet, this thing's probably going to be so far off the floor that it's probably not going to do anything. You can tell on the medium pile, this thing was barely skimming the surface. And if I want to use a vacuum that'll skim the top of the surface and not dig down deep, then I'm going to use something like a DC07. So, I don't know. Or hell, I could even use a straight suction canister if I want to just get stuff off the top of the carpet. But yeah, so that's the Eureka TheBoss Power Plus. Vacuuming the living room. I don't think I already did this video at the old house. If I did, oh well, I guess I'll re-upload this anyways. It's bonus content, I guess, even if it's a bit boring. But I don't remember doing this video at the old house, so, but given my memory, that's not saying much. So it's entirely possible I did this. Whatever, we're about to find out. But either way, this is the Eureka TheBoss Power Plus running on the new carpet. And you know what? If someone wants this vacuum, maybe, I don't know, I'll probably sell it to them, because I don't really think I need to keep this. It's a decent machine as far as performance goes, but filtration is what turns me off from it. So if you want to buy my custom Boss Power Plus, then let me know and I might list it for sale. Hopefully these screws are okay. I know none of the other screws are messed up. But yeah, that's not great. I'm sure there is a way to get rust off those screws. So if anyone knows how to get rust off screws like this, because I'd rather not have to replace the screws. But yeah, let me know. Anyways, this is Untitled Studio signing out with another video. If you have any requests as far as what video to do next, by all means let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.